Yer! What's going on, YouTube? It's been a minute, chat. A hot minute since we sat here and discussed some college football. It's your boy Ant here with my brother Dallin. It's the Overrated
God did.
Podcast. God did. Heavily blessed to watch another week of great college football. If you're new to the channel or not, and you're just returning to watch some more great football content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. That's all we we appreciate it. Every time you hit that button, do us a favor, hit that button, and if you really mess with the content, turn on the notifications so that you don't miss when we drop. Because we took a little break, but look, we're back. We're gonna try to be more consistent moving forward. A lot of stuff happened. Broke my finger yesterday, so here we are. Here we are, man.
Yeah, a lot of family stuff happened. There ain't no we can do about it.
But listen, yesterday we had a lot of teams lose. A lot of teams lose. And a little bit of shakeup. A little bit of shakeup in the college football rankings. But that's on Tuesday. Today we got the AP top 25 rankings. Take a look at that on the screen. We'll talk about it a little bit. See what we're thinking. So AP dropped, got Oregon still at number 1. Surprise no one. They're undefeated. Ohio State, number 2. Then we got Texas, Penn State, Indiana, Notre Dame. Then we got Alabama back in the top 10. We kind of saw that coming after Alabama lost to Tennessee. We didn't really think they would lose another game this year. The schedule is just in their favor, and they're going to work. They look different. They look different.
Don't say that now.
So we'll see. Georgia back after that Ole Miss loss. In the college, they had Georgia out of the college football playoffs after that Ole Miss loss, like ranked outside of the top. Like there was no way that they thought they were getting back in. Here they are. Went over Tennessee and they're back. Ole Miss is at 9. This is what I don't understand. And I know it's the AP vote rankings, and the college football rankings will be a little bit different. But how do you look at Georgia and place them ahead of Ole Miss after we watched what Ole Miss did to Georgia?
I think it's kind of the same. Like they did the same thing to Tennessee, so I think that's how they're looking at it.
I don't know, man. Tennessee still in the top 10 at 10.
Which is crazy.
And then we got Miami, Boise State, SMU, BYU drops all the way to 14 after that terrible loss to Kansas. And BYU's loss, like, it's kind of like Iowa State. Iowa State now has 2 losses, but in the sense of like they were both undefeated. And me and you were just waiting, bro. We were just waiting for a team to finally prove that they're not as good as the ranking says they were. So BYU finally got touched. No Diddy. And Iowa State got touched 2 weeks ago. But here we are. Texas A&M is at 15. Colorado jumps up to 16. Hopefully they're higher in the college football playoff rankings because this is the best team in the Big 12. Hands down, like BYU is good. I think Colorado is the best team in the Big 12, respectfully.
The defense should be ranked higher.
Utah, who had the number 1 defense in the Big 12, got exposed by Colorado offense that didn't even play that well. They put up 49 points, and I thought they were very careless. They had a bunch of holding penalties, which we'll talk about a little later before I go on a rant. We got Clemson, Army at 18, South Carolina at 19, who South Carolina looks good. It looked good, Dallin.
Yeah.
Tulane at 20 after that monster win over Navy. I think they shut them out. Insane. And then Arizona State went up 24-0. We're not going to talk about this game because I decided, and I'll expose myself. I texted Dallin because Dallin he texted me before the show, and he's like, "Hey, are we going to preview and pick the Arizona State Kansas State game?" And I was like, "It doesn't look like Scatterbo is going to play, so Arizona State doesn't have a chance." Well, Scatterbo did play, but he didn't play that well, and Arizona still put BTA to Kansas State. So I apologize. I'll sit here and be the first to say I thought Arizona State was going to get ran out of the building. No shot. I was wrong. They went up 24-0. Kansas State tried to come back little too late. They would have actually had a shot, but ended up missing a field goal late in that game, down 10. That field goal would have made it a one-possession game. Then all they would have had to do was get a stop on defense and a chance to go tie it. Obviously, they missed that field goal, and then you can see the morale get sucked out of Kansas State, which makes it better for Colorado because now with a BYU loss, Iowa State with 2 conference losses, Kansas State with 3 conference losses, a loss. Let's say that Colorado loses to Kansas this week. They still may be a favorite to go to the Big 12 championship with 2 losses. So maybe not though, because I think Arizona State has a tiebreaker with that win over Kansas State, and Colorado lost to Kansas State. So
Arizona State got 2 losses in the conference.
Yeah,
and they're tied for third with Iowa State. Can't speak English.
Well, Arizona State plays BYU this week.
Yep.
So there's a shot. There's a shot that BYU beats Arizona State, which I think Colorado fans are now hoping that ASU loses, because if they lose, then Colorado, even with the losses, making the Big 12 championship.
Hold on, let's throw a flag on the play. Did you say BYU is going to beat Arizona State?
No, I said if they beat Arizona State. I think that's what Colorado fans want. I'm not making a pick on that game yet. I need to do my research. What I'm saying is, I think if you're a Colorado fan and you're kind of nervous, which you shouldn't be, Colorado should handle Kansas and should handle Oklahoma State. But if you're nervous that they may drop one of these games, you're kind of hoping that BYU beats Arizona State, because Arizona State with 3 conference losses, I think firmly puts, no matter what happens to Colorado in the Big 12 championship game moving forward.
Iowa State got Utah and Kansas State last 2 weeks.
UNLV back ranked at 23. Illinois is back in the ranking at 24. And then Washington State, a team that we did an episode on Tuesday and talked about were they being a little disrespected in playoff rankings. Well, no, because New Mexico State put all that to bed with that win last night. And here we are. That's the AP Top 25. College football Top 25 drops on Tuesday. And that's when we'll really know. We'll really know what the smoke is. But let's move on to our first game that we reviewed. I think we both picked Colorado to win this game. Yeah, shocker, because we've been picking Colorado all year long. Number 17, Colorado dominates Utah. I'm in 49-24. Did you catch this whole game?
No, I caught I'd say probably 2.5 quarters.
Okay, so I'm a Buffs fan. Got my jacket on the way to be here Monday.
This man here.
So let's just go through the stats for both teams. Colorado wins this game 49-24. Time of possession was in Utah's favor. They had 35 minutes of time of possession to Colorado's 24. Colorado, though, 405 total yards of offense, 340 through the air, 65 on the ground. Utah, who's been known for running the ball, only had 31 rushing yards. They had 241 passing yards, which is better than what we expect the Utah team with their third-string quarterback to do. They played fairly well. Both teams had a bunch of turnovers, and Colorado was really penalty-heavy. But Isaac Wilson, quarterback for Utah, 21 of 40, 236 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. And then Colorado has Shador Sanders, 30 for 41, 340 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. This game started off with Colorado getting the ball first. And if you're sitting at home and you're a little, what's the word? Nervous about this Utah game. Well, the first drive from Colorado didn't make it better. Shador Sanders goes out and throws a pick on the first play of the game. Utah gets short field position. Defense gets a stop, and then, held them to a field goal. Utah takes a field goal. They're up 3-0. After that, the game was open. And I feel like Colorado played the rest of that half well. They had a third down where Shador had a hard count on the second count, got the defense to jump off sides, hiked it for a free play. Jump ball to Will Shepherd was a touchdown. That was 7-0 or 7-3. Utah goes back on offense, 3 and out, punts the ball. LeJohntay Wester takes that punt return to the house. Now Colorado's up 14-3. So they go from throwing a pick on the first drive to scoring touchdowns on their next possession, and Utah's punt return touchdown. And then it was a little bit of a shaky half after that, all the way up until like the last 2 minutes of the second quarter, and Travis Hunter catches the most amazing fourth and 5 jump ball I've ever seen from a Colorado player. I wish I had the highlight, Dallin. I mean, Shador just throws up a jump ball between a safety and a DB, and he jumps up and he catches it on 4th down. Crazy. Travis Hunter had a rushing touchdown and an interception in that game. That boy deserves the Heisman. That boy deserves the Heisman. I mean,
so my thing with Colorado, it don't really. They had the Big 12 or Big 10. I don't know which one of them. They got that locked down regardless. Because even if they play, since they had Utah held for 37, maybe 41 yards or something like that. Utah's known for running the ball, so you already know that front line, that old line is heavy. They can run the ball. So the fact that they shut them down and only kept them below 50 yards, I see them doing with every other team, like Arizona State with Scatterbo. I feel like they can contain him, and then they just leave it up to Levitt to either run the ball, throw the ball, either one. And then BYU, we already know you shut down their offense. They really not going to do nothing. Colorado has a chance to make the college playoffs just by winning their conference. And I feel with Shador, Travis, that whole squad, they got a squad, they can make a run for the championship.
I think they're the the best team in the Big 12. Hands down. I think they're going to win the Big 12. It's in Arlington, Texas. I'm thinking about just buying my ticket to go watch that Big 12 championship game just so I can see them play because I'm ready. And I live in Texas, so I'm right here down the street, 2 hours away from the stadium. I'm thinking about going on SeatGeek and getting me a ticket. But every week I watch this Colorado team, I get more confident in their ability to beat one of the top 15 teams, 12 teams in the nation. Now, I'm not saying that in a conference like the SEC, Colorado will be dominant this year. I think they're good. I think they're a great team. I think they're a top 10 team.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they will be able to survive and make the college football playoffs in the SEC or the Big Ten. I think the gauntlet is just too heavy. Having to play South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, Texas, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, like week in Alabama, Georgia, week in and week out. Like that's a different monster than the Big 12, respectfully. The Big 12 is a little more, here's to put it lightly, if I took Oklahoma today with no offense and I put them in the Big 12, they'll be competing for the title. Because we've seen Oklahoma go undefeated in non-conference and then struggle in SEC play. I don't think they struggle that much in Big 12 play. I think they look a little more like how we see Arizona State and Colorado looking if they were in the Big 12 because they can play defense and they can run the ball. With that being said, though, I think once you get to the college football playoffs, especially Colorado, when they win the Big 12 and they have that first round bye, it's 3 games. It's 3 games. And with that offense, anything can happen. And we're talking about neutral site. We're not talking about Colorado and Oregon. We're not talking about Colorado and Bama. We're not talking about Colorado and Georgia or in Ohio State or in Happy Valley or in Death Valley or in the 12th man at Aggie. We're talking about neutral site who, let's be real, half of America is showing up to watch Colorado and Prime play, and they're rooting for them. So it's basically home games. It's basically home games.
I would bet
especially at the Mercedes especially at the Mercedes Stadium. The Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, where Deion Sanders put the Falcons on the mat. Sheesh. People love Deion. People love Shador. People love Bucky and Shiloh and Travis. So, listen, you give them 60 minutes, I think they can beat anybody in the country. 60 minutes, they can beat anybody in the country. Especially, I mean, like
So
you say, you shake your head. You shake your head, but you shake your head. But let me just say this. We just watched the number 1 team, Oregon, struggle against Wisconsin with no offense. Can you tell me that Wisconsin's better than Colorado?
No, most definitely.
Okay, because we just watched Alabama lose to Vanderbilt. Are you going to tell me Vandy's better than Colorado?
We put a debate with who's going to win that game.
Ole Miss lost to Kentucky. I do not think Kentucky's better than Colorado.
We not going to sit here and act like SEC. You just said it yourself. SEC is a whole different beast.
We're talking
about the top teams in the SEC, and you're putting Colorado against them. Now, some of the teams in the SEC, yeah, I give Colorado to beat them. But we're talking about Alabama.
Yes, listen, I said
we're not throwing Georgia in there. We already know what Georgia going to do. Alabama, we'll do Texas. We'll do, let's see, Ole Miss, Texas A&M. They might make it close, but I don't see them beating them. I say they'll probably lose by at least 10 points.
I think they can beat them. Now, the problem is they can't run the ball. And when we start getting into these top teams in college football who can stop the run already, but the fact that you can't run the ball and you're forcing these 5-star, 4-star DBs to just say, hey, the only thing you got to worry about is not letting Travis Hunter, Will Shepard, LeJontay Wester, and the rest of that receiving unit go crazy. Because if you can contain the receivers, then you can win the game. Now, the problem is, I don't think a lot of teams in the world can stop that Colorado receiving unit. I mean, they're insane. I mean, the more you watch them, the better they are. On top, like forget Travis, forget Jimmy Horn, forget LeJontay Wester, forget Will Shepard. We watched Omarion Miller and Draylon Miller go for 150 and 108. And Draylon Miller's a true freshman. And Omarion Miller was a true freshman last year and a sophomore this year. And they're like the 5th and 6th receivers on a depth chart. And they just jump off the bench and go for a buck and a touchdown. So the receiving unit in Colorado probably can't get contained by anybody. And then Shador Sanders is the best quarterback in the nation. That combination, Deadly. Deadly. Now, the problem is they can't run it. And if you let Georgia and Alabama just sit in pass coverage all day and know that you can't run the ball, it could get scary. But
That's just,
I'm starting to trust the Colorado defense, though. I think the defense can get a stop. Carson Beck has not been playing well. I think Georgia's offense would not move the ball against Colorado.
that's why I left them out, because we're not going to talk about Georgia, because we see, well, they did put up a good game even without NTN, and this is just my thing is, can you really put your full trust in Carson Beck? He have his moments where he played good, like the senior quarterback that he is, but then he'll turn around and start making those freshman mistakes, just throwing the ball in the coverage. Because you see how they started the game against Tennessee, they went that first drive, they did nothing but just throw go routes, jump balls. Now imagine you get picked off first drive and then they go down and score. Now you got a whole different game plan, which Tennessee did. They went up 10-0 first quarter
and lost.
So with Colorado, yeah, they can't run the ball.
My
so
whole
when
thing
you
is
putting them against them top teams, they stop the run. Now you got to throw the ball with Shador like 50, 60 times.
And
I mean, he got to sit.
You can't stop.
You
can't stop the receivers though. That's the problem. Like Travis Hunter's always open. LeJontay Wester's always open.
And that's fine. But can that O line hold up against a top D line? We already knew.
We don't know.
Colorado O line and Miami O line hand to hand. We both know that. Now, I don't know.
Colorado's O line has been better though
in sacks this year, but last year he was one of the top quarterbacks.
I think they're better this year. They're still bottom 50 in sacks allowed, but it's mainly in those first 4 games. Like ever since that Baylor game, they've been way better at protecting the quarterback.
We'll see. I know they
can
make
my thing is, like in order to beat Colorado, you have to have good QB play. Like if you have a quarterback that can play good in big moments, you can beat Colorado because that's how you're going to beat them. That's how you have to beat that defense. You have to be patient and make throws or have the ability to run. I think teams that Colorado doesn't want to see in the playoffs is Tennessee and Alabama. You do not want to see teams with quarterbacks that can stretch the defense with their legs. Because Jalen Milroe will make it hard for Colorado. They already struggle against stopping a QB draw. God, imagine trying to stop Jalen Milroe in that offense for Colorado.
Imagine
it's not
running backs
like
as well.
If you just hike the ball, turn around and hand the ball off, Colorado's defense, run defense, top 10, top 15 in the nation. When it's just hiking and handing the ball off, they can stop it. They can stop it easy. But then when you start getting the read options, QB draws, like Colorado gets shaky. They start putting Shiloh Sanders in the safeties in one-on-one situations, and we've seen Shiloh struggle at wrapping up an open field by himself all year. So if they're going against Notre Dame, A&M, Texas, which I don't think they'll beat Texas, but just going against a team like Texas, going against what's another team that's in the playoffs? Miami. Like these are teams.
I think they'll be Miami. All right.
Yeah, like these are teams that Colorado wants to play because Boise State. They may not stop Ashton Jenney, but at least you know they can't throw the ball on Colorado. So all you have to do is worry about Ashton Jenney. So I think like these are the teams Colorado wants to play. They do not want to play Alabama. They do not want to play Tennessee.
Ohio State too.
They do not want to play Ohio State.
The way they understandable. But the way Ohio State played in the last 3 weeks, they don't look like a number 2 team in the country.
You asked me one team Colorado will for sure beat or I can name 3. 3 teams that Colorado will for sure beat in the playoffs. Miami, they will for sure beat. SMU, they could for sure beat. And Penn State, they could for sure beat.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
because these are teams that struggle with throwing the football, but can run it efficiently. Not SMU. All right, guys, not SMU. SMU is good football team. Period. I just think that that Colorado can match up with SMU, but like lost my train of thought. Penn State, we saw they cannot stretch the field. They like Drew Aller's not throwing the ball all over Colorado. All they have to do is stop the run, and they have a good day against Penn State. Now, Penn State's pass rush is great. Teams they don't want to face: Alabama, Tennessee. I'll even throw Ole Miss in there. But Boise State, Penn State. Who else did I name? SMU, Miami.
SMU. Yeah.
Those are teams Colorado wants to face in the playoffs because those are teams that Colorado can handle.
I might throw Oregon in there just because of how Oregon played last week. Yeah, it was a road game, but
it's so much.
You're the number one team in the country, and you just went to.
It's so much speed on that offense. It's so much speed on that offense. And Dylan Gabriel can run. Dylan Gabriel can run. Like if you force Dylan Gabriel to run, he can break touchdowns. Like, he's fast. He's like Marcus Mariota fast in college. I don't think you want that game, Dylan, especially because obviously I'm a Sooner fan, and Dylan Gabriel played for us all last year. He's a big time player. Big game. Dylan Gabriel's going to show up. You don't want that. You don't want Oregon, especially because they have that play caller from Dan Lanning. Like that team is just they're built to win a national championship this year.
It's getting close to the college playoffs, so we're gonna see.
We are gonna see. All right, let's move on. We spent about 25 minutes on Colorado.
Colorado's been impressive this year, so yeah. I know some of these other topics we're gonna just fly through.
Let's talk about Georgia. With a bounce back win against Tennessee, they beat them 31-17. Georgia finally shows us some Georgia football. We've been waiting all year. I mean, Carson Beck did not throw the ball, turn the ball over. I mean,
you see what happened?
Damn.
They win games.
It's been like 6 weeks since Carson Beck hasn't thrown a pick in a football game. So, kudos to that. They ran the ball well. This game was 17-17 going into the fourth quarter. And then Georgia just pulled away. And what do we say? If you go back and you watch the shorts on the Overrated podcast, which, bro, we're always fucking right. If anybody listens to us, we always talk about it. We talked about that Nico Imaliava struggles at putting together big-time drive after big-time drive after big-time drive. Remember I told you that Tennessee's downfall will be because Nico this year isn't able to put together big-time drive after big-time drive in big-time games?
Yeah.
We said next year, maybe 2 years from now, Nico, Heisman candidate, is going to have this team looking great. This year, he just does not seem ready for big moments. And again, I mean, 17-17, you had Georgia. A Georgia team that already was not like oozing Georgia confidence. Yeah, they lost. They lost to Bama. They lost to Ole Miss. Like, this Georgia team was one big Tennessee play away from saying fuck this season. Excuse my language, but they were done. And y'all built them up and gave them hope all game. And in the fourth quarter, they were like, no, we're going to take this game. And that's what they did.
I watched that game from, I think I turned that off in the fourth quarter and I realized Tennessee was going to score again. Yeah, Nico being a freshman, cost them the game. It's been costing them some of the games the whole entire year. And you can't just sit there and rely on that defense the entire time. And what's his name? Dylan Sampson break off big runs and like that. So it's when Nico
so bad,
and even when the commentators were talking about before the game, in order for Tennessee to win that game, Nico had to hit the big shot plays because they like to run the seams a lot. he had to hit those like a few
they're a vertical
times.
team.
Yeah, he had to hit those a few times, and that would have took Georgia defense out of the whole entire game. But
listen, I'm gonna have a
putting that
crazy
pressure
take.
on him is over.
I'm gonna have a crazy take because you said it. Like we see it, the announcer saw it, everybody that covers college football saw it. In order for Tennessee to win this game, they were gonna have to hit those vertical shots down the field because that's Tennessee's offense. It's run, 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 play action, pass, big shot, big shot, big shot. We've seen it, and if they had Joe Milton, and that was a Tennessee quarterback before Nico, right? When they had Jalen Hyatt and they were throwing the ball down the field.
No, that's Hendon Hooker.
Hendon Hooker, my bad. Scratch that. If they had Hendon Hooker, Tennessee would be undefeated.
Yeah,
because Hendon Hooker had that ability, and I know it was Jalen Hyatt a lot. It was Jalen Hyatt a lot for that Tennessee offense that was making big plays down the field. But Hendon was putting the ball there. I mean, Nico, and I said it since the Oklahoma game. He has not thrown for 200 yards and double-digit touchdowns in a game. And it's kind of pissing me off because he didn't score a single touchdown this game. You put up 1 or 2 touchdowns, you win this game. Under 200 yard passing, no touchdowns. Like, yeah, he's not turning the ball over, but he's not putting the ball in the end zone. He's not finishing drives. It's Dylan Sampson or nobody.
That's the thing. That's what opens up the pass game for him is the defense has to worry about Dylan Sampson. Dylan Sampson's run the ball so well. All you gotta do is complete a pass. That's it.
Dylan Sampson would be in Heisman talk if he had any quarterback that can stretch the field. Because I feel bad. That Tennessee team can run the ball very well. They can play defense extremely well. And these receivers are open. They're there. Like everything about this Tennessee anything about this Tennessee team says championship. Everything from defense to running back to receivers to offensive game plan to coaching. I mean, Hype was a great coach. Like this team should be a college football playoff national championship contender if they had any quarterback play that's just slightly better than Nico. That's all they need is a little bit better. They don't need Nico to be Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders, but they just need him to be better. You cannot miss opportunities. And Nico, you've been doing it and surviving. He survived against Oklahoma because they had no offense. But you were missing big plays down the field. Tennessee should beat Oklahoma 40-7. 40-9.
Yeah, and Alabama lost to him because Jalen Miro couldn't capitalize off of Nico missing those drives where he could have completed a third down, and we get the ball back and we can't go down the field just to at least put 3 points up.
Yeah.
So Tennessee down for when Nico can get better. Tennessee would be a contender for the narrative.
And I just want to check something before we move on to the next game. I want to know if they have a bunch of seniors, juniors, or sophomores on this roster. Like, what is Dylan Sampson?
Let's see.
He's a junior, right?
Yeah, Dylan Sampson's a junior. Let's see.
Because like my concern
most of their wide receivers. Well, Squirrel White, that's a big receiver. He's a junior.
Yeah, so like a lot of these guys on this team that are big time playmakers and performers for this team, they're juniors. They have the opportunity to go to the league next year. And my concern is a team this good, like this is a championship team. And I think Nico next year is going to be really good. I do think next year Nico's going to figure it out. The problem is will he figure it out too late? And these guys are already going to leave to the NFL or leave to the next level. And now this team isn't as good as it is right now. Because right now, Tennessee is a championship team. Everything around Nico is a championship team. So this might be a missed opportunity for Tennessee this
Might
year.
be because some of their defensive players is juniors and seniors. So I think them important people that played a big factor this season, they're going to be leaving this year. So I don't know if that defense will look the same.
I mean, there's still a
Same
chance.
linebackers too.
There's still a chance. I mean, Tennessee can still make the playoffs. Obviously, they're ranked number 10 right now, and I think the
I don't
rest
even
of the
know how to
schedule is. So if you're in the SEC and you have 2 losses, which is just Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, and that's it, right? Those are the 4 teams with 2 losses. They're like all of you guys are hoping that you miss the playoff, the SEC championship game, because I think you make it if you just miss the
14
SEC championship
losses.
game. I think all 4 of those teams, I think all 4 of them are ranked in the top 10 right now currently. Georgia, Tennessee, A&M. No, A&M's 15, but they have 1 loss. Ole Miss, Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee. Yeah, all 4 of those teams are 10, or top 10 teams right now. If they win out, I think they're all going to make the playoffs. I think the only way they don't make the playoffs is if Texas A&M beats Texas in the last week of the season, and then Texas beats the A&M, because then I think that both of these teams will have an argument, because Texas A&M would then have a win over Texas and a loss against Texas, and then they'll probably rematch in the playoffs.
See, here's my thing. Tennessee, they have a chance to make the playoffs, but they have Vanderbilt at the end of the year. That's in Nashville. So if they don't win that game, which I don't think they will, just based off how I know it's going back to say Nico. It's all on Nico. Nico gonna have to complete passes. If he don't complete passes, they're not beating Vandy. Because they're not going to be able to just – I don't think they're going to be able to just rely on Dylan Sampson to put 200, 250, 4 touchdowns up just to be Vanderbilt. I just don't see that happening.
I think South Carolina exposed Vanderbilt.
And Georgia exposed Tennessee.
We'll move on. Texas with a not so great win, but good win over Arkansas. I feel like this game was more about Arkansas playing bad than Texas playing great.
Yeah.
Taylor Green looked like he did not know how to see a defense today or yesterday. He didn't play well.
Yeah. And that game was – I kept going back to that game. I was like, that game looked a little scary for Texas right now. Quentin U, they had what? They had 20 first downs. They won the time possession.
Yeah, it was just bad quarterback play from Taylor Green. That really told the story.
But my thing is, Arkansas had 2 turnovers and Texas didn't. So I'm trying to figure out.
That was quarterback play though. They had a Taylor Green threw up a pass in the triple coverage that was picked off. Bad ball, terrible read, and then I think one of them was a turnover on down. So it was really just Arkansas having bad QB play. Texas does not look that good.
They don't. They really don't.
For a team with so much talent, Texas should be where Oregon is right now. Like they should, with the talent on their team, they should be undefeated. But
besides the game against,
something ain't right about Texas. Some stank over there. Some stank at Texas. I think it might be Quinn Ewers.
It's not Texas. It's just the fact that they didn't play anybody. If they did play any SEC opponents, it's like middle of the pack or below. They didn't play nobody that's like top tier besides Georgia. And what happened when they played Georgia? At home. They lost by 15. So their schedule is playing in their favor for them to make the college playoffs. The committee did that. They could have made their schedule a whole lot harder, but they want to get them a little cupcake schedule. It's like how I want to say normally like Ohio State or Michigan back in the days where they wouldn't play anybody until they reached the playoffs. So it's like
I think these schedules are. Well, I don't know about Texas and Oklahoma because they just joined the SEC, but I think these schedules were pre-planned.
no, they might
At
be,
least the
they might be,
non-conference games were.
but
I think the
Oklahoma
non-conference games were scheduled, but not the conference play.
Oklahoma had a whole lot harder schedule than Texas did.
Yeah, we was not ducking smoke in the SEC. We said we here.
Definitely, yeah,
Give us
y'all
all SEC
Texas should have had
opponents.
the same schedule as y'all.
Yeah, listen, I can't get mad at Texas because Missouri also lived off the same smoke, and Missouri thought that they were going to have an easy time with the schedule that they had, but then they ended up,
Missouri's
you know,
Missouri.
they ended up catching some SEC teams they didn't expect to be great.
That's all I can say. Missouri is just Missouri. That
Speaking of
offense,
Missouri,
yeah, we can go ahead and talk about them.
South Carolina beats Missouri 34
I
to 30.
watched.
This game was actually pretty good.
It was a lot closer than I thought it was gonna be, but I don't watch that game.
Luther Burden, I mean, that's a talent.
Phenomenal catch. Phenomenal
That's a
catch.
talent, bro.
He's going. He's
Jesus
leaving next year, and then
Christ.
Brady Cook. I don't know if Brady Cook is a senior or not, but if he's a junior, if he stays, he's gonna have to find
Brady
another
Cook's a
target.
senior.
Oh, he's a senior.
Can't
Okay,
stand,
well,
yeah.
what about Birdie?
Burden's a senior too.
Oh yeah, so
This Burden's a junior. Burden's a junior. He
he's a
could come
junior.
back.
He's leaving.
He could come
No,
back.
I don't think he's coming back. He's gonna leave.
Yeah, I mean,
He
there's
has
no
the
reason
talent where
to.
he's gonna get drafted first round. I already know for a fact he's gonna drafted first round.
Should.
But Missouri with Luther Burden catching that phenomenal pass that kind of put them up, and then my God, Rocket Sanders. That man is a dog. When I
Yeah.
tell you,
No one's stopping South Carolina right now.
Sellers threw a shovel pass to this man, and he literally broke 6 tackles, just going straight up the middle. I'm like, hey, look, at that point, and then they showed Missouri's sideline too. Everybody's head was down. I was like, hey, you can't even do nothing about that. Just clap it up. It's over. You
Rocket
played South
Sanders.
Carolina at home, so what you think he was gonna do?
I mean, this game was pretty even though. This game was well. Like these teams match up well. I mean, time of
Yeah,
possession was pretty much even. First downs even. Total yards. South Carolina had I think 100 more total yards, but like both teams had over 100 rushing yards. Both teams were throwing the ball pretty efficiently. Penalties were about even out. Like turnovers, they both had one. Like this game was pretty even. It just was. It really all came down to that one Brady Cook interception,
yeah.
and Lenora Sellers threw 5 touchdown passes.
That man was. I'm talking about rolling out the pocket and putting the ball on the money.
I think this is Lenore Sellers' coming out game. Like he
Yep.
was like, he what Lenore what he basically told people was, come to South Carolina next year. They got a quarterback.
Oh yeah, South Carolina next year they're going to be tough. They're going to be tough. They're going to make them compete. Because even with this year, the teams that they played, they only lost by one score, and those games were close. So yeah, of course, at the end of the year, they're gonna start breaking those games out, and they're gonna start pulling some dubs through. Just how Kansas is. We're gonna talk about them later, but just how Kansas doing.
Except
Games
Kansas
close at
doesn't
the
have
beginning of the
the
year, get to the end, start breaking out the W's.
Kansas doesn't have the luxury that South Carolina has though. Kansas struggled this year, but Jalen Daniels is a senior. Kobe Bryant is on his way out the door. Like
What
this
about
team's
Devin Hill?
core, yeah, junior. Like this team's core is gone next year. And if
Yeah,
Devin Neal doesn't go to the NFL, he probably won't stay in
transfer.
Kansas. He'll probably be in the transfer portal. So it's not like South Carolina, who has Lenore Sellers, who I think is a freshman.
Oh, he is a freshman. Oh my God.
So like South Carolina has like a chance to be special moving forward. I don't think they'll have Rocket Sanders next year, but
No, Rocket. No, he a senior. He gone.
But like on top of everybody, I mean they'll have Nick Harbor, who's a big time receiver for them. He'll be back next year. Lenore Sellers will be back next year. Like South Carolina might be in the SEC talk.
They're good hands.
Yeah, they're in good. They're in great hands, and I think they're going to get a lot of recruits to a lot of 3 and 4 stars to be like, okay, we want to go to South Carolina next year. We want to be on top of whatever they got building over there.
Oh, Nick Harper's a sophomore.
Yeah, Nick Harbor's going to be there next year.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, they finna come out tough next year.
Yeah, South Carolina will be a team to discuss next year because then you start talking about SEC quarterbacks are leaving. Like Carson Beck probably won't be around. He needs to come back next year.
Nah, he's a senior. He's not gonna be able to.
Yeah, but he can talk about the COVID eligibility shit. He can get another year, just like what's his name from Utah.
Oh,
Cam Rising. Cam Rising is doing it. So
well, yeah, he could probably do it too.
He could try. What's his name from Vanderbilt? Diego Pavia is also trying to get another year of eligibility.
Yeah, he is.
Like
too.
you can do it. I think Carson Beck should try. I think he'll get drafted no matter what.
With his play this year, he'll probably be drafted. I like maybe.
It's not just about the interceptions. Like he played bad this year. It's about where he started this year, and I think some teams are still going to want to take a chance on that because he started off as the number 1 quarterback in the 2025 draft. But obviously now we know it's Shedeur, but his play is terrible this year. But so is Georgia's offense. So it's really hard to say it's all on Carson Beck. Carson Beck sucks, which 50% of it is on Carson Beck. 30% of it is on the receivers. 20% of it is on the O-line. That's really what it is.
Yeah, leave out the running backs because they just been doing what they're supposed to do.
No, yeah. So I think some team will draft Carson Beck, but my point is Carson Beck will be gone. Quinn Ewers gone. Jalen Milroe gone.
Jalen's a junior. Jalen got a chance to come back if he wants to.
He ain't coming back.
Just stop it. He might.
Draft pick.
He might.
That is a first round draft. People got Jalen Milroe on their draft board higher than Cam Ward.
I would too.
So I wouldn't.
Stop it. Stop it.
I understand it.
Dual threat? You're not stopping him. He's basically like
it's the NFL.
Bigger Lamar.
It's the NFL.
What are we talking about here?
It's the NFL.
It's a bigger Lamar.
Cam Ward is special. I said it.
Lamar special. What do you think Jalen Milroe gonna be special?
I'm not saying he won't be special. I'm just saying, like, if you're a bad franchise, you don't want Jalen Milroe. You want Cam Ward.
What?
You want a quarterback that can make every throw. Jalen Milroe can't make every throw. We've seen him struggle this year with balls 20+ yards on the field.
So put it like this. I hope he don't go there. Carolina Panthers, we already know they're probably gonna get the first pick.
Yeah, they're gonna Cam Newton Jalen. They're gonna Cam Newton Jalen.
I don't want to see them take Shedeur.
Like if Jalen Milroe goes anywhere, I pray Jalen Milroe falls to Baltimore for a year or two.
Why would he fall to Baltimore? Baltimore already has a quarterback. They're not taking another quarterback.
They'll draft him.
Not in the first round.
Draft him. Yeah, we'll see. We've seen it before.
But hold on. Do you not see how Baltimore's playing this year? They need corners. They're going to play corner in the first round.
It's not about how they're playing. It's about the style of play. Like Jim Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson fits Jalen Milroe.
But they're going to address that hope first. Jalen Milroe's not leaving the first round. They're going to address that hope first. If they don't get in the free agency, they're going to address.
I can't see a lot of franchises with Jalen Milroe prospers in that style of play. Because you don't want him to turn into Anthony Richardson.
No. So let me see. Hold on. You can go to the next side. I just want to see the standings.
Yeah, otherwise. Kansas upsets number 6, BYU 17-13. This game was freaking boring. Sat there late at night, falling asleep to this game because this game was not fun. But Kansas turning their season around, looking to be bowl eligible after starting the season 3-6. They're now
4, 5, and 6.
4-6.
They're 4 and 6.
They're now 4-6 with the opportunity to
we
become bowl
could
eligible.
We could have been talking about Kansas in a different way if they've been balling like they've been doing now the entire year.
Yeah.
It'll be ranked and be talking about, hey, we're going to do the college playoffs.
Yeah,
But no,
they
they'd
should
rather
be
play upset factor
Kansas.
and do what everybody else is.
Kansas should be BYU. Like
exactly.
Kansas should be BYU. Instead, they're not.
Given what they schedule, they have a harder schedule than BYU. So they definitely would be playing in a favor. Hey, they're a contender for the Natty. But
unfortunately, I think they lose this game against Colorado. They're not going to become bowl eligible, but they very possibly will. Otherwise, everything about this game said BYU won. Time of possession was in BYU's favor. BYU converted more on third down. They had more first downs. They had more yards. They had more passing yards. They had more rushing yards. They had more special team yards. They ran more plays. They had more yards per play. But somehow they had 4 red zone drives that ended with 0 points.
That's the downfall right there.
So
0 for 4 in the red zone, that calls for a loss.
So there it is. BYU takes their first loss of the season. Drops all the way to 14th in the AP ranking.
With the remaining of their schedule, they're gonna have to fight. They're gonna fight hard. Because given the fact that they got Arizona State this week and they got Houston next week, both of those teams are tough because we've seen Houston beat Kansas State. And Arizona State just beat Kansas State as well.
Kansas State has been everybody's stepping stone.
So it's like they can't take those games easy.
And BYU's this loss has been, it's been coming for BYU. I mean, they beat Baylor by 1 score. They beat SMU by 3. They beat Oklahoma State by 3. They beat UCF by a touchdown. They beat Utah by 1 off of a sack that was called back because of a defensive holding call that was questionable, which breathed life into BYU, and they went off a game-winning field goal. And then now they go into Kansas, and it seemed like their Irish luck ran out.
Yeah.
And here they are with a loss now. And the story for next week will be, how do you respond against Arizona State? Because they're coming. And Arizona State now they're ranked again. They're in the top 25, and they have a chance to make the Big 12 championship with a win over BYU. So Arizona State's hot and they're ready. Because if they beat BYU, then they control their own destiny. They went out there in the Big 12 championship game against Colorado instead of BYU, and the whole playoff gets flipped on their head, and the world goes nuts because Arizona State came out of nowhere to steal a Big 12 championship title away from somebody.
BYU, they're gonna have to answer. They don't answer. Arizona State with a home game.
By the way, we both picked Kansas.
Night game? Oh yeah, we did pick Kansas. Thank you. We already know that. I already told you Kansas is gonna get some games at
Nope.
the end of the year.
That BYU Arizona State game is at 2:30. So I
Oh, is that
cannot
2:30?
wait. I cannot wait.
I would still take Arizona State. The fact they're at home, they're
I will be
ranked,
flipping
and then
back
they
and forth
also if
between that game and Kansas and Colorado, who is also at 2:30.
they're both at 3:30.
Yeah, they're both at 2:30.
So yeah, I'm gonna have laptop on that one and then my phone on the other one. Yeah, BYU gonna have to make some noise on the road, and then Kansas. This y'all last week. Don't beat Colorado at this point. Just go and call it
Please.
quits. Go and call it
Please don't
quits.
turn up. Hey, but I think Colorado wins. I have faith. Like I'm always nervous about Colorado, but the film is there. I will be watching that game with the Buffed and Prime crew. If you know, you know.
Yeah. You know they got a defense. I told you if they get a defense, then they're gonna be hard to stop. So the fact that their defense is playing at a high level now, compared to what he did last year, I got faith. I got faith that is it a home game for Colorado?
Nope, they are in Kansas.
Oh,
and it's gonna be packed house.
I'm definitely taking Colorado because we know what Colorado does on the road. I'm definitely taking Colorado. I ain't worried about it. I thought it was a home game. That would have been word.
And I'm really proud of Colorado because we always talk about, like I was telling you, like Colorado at home seems to be a little more like falling for the hype. Like, you know, they get back home in front of those Boulder white girls and those in that weed smoking crowd and that drunk Boulder crowd wearing their sunglasses and their Deion Sanders hats, and all the celebrities is at the game. And I feel like they get a little like
get comfortable,
yeah. And then teams start jumping out to leads on them, and Colorado has to come back and put together these heroic endings at home. No,
yeah.
Like they went out there and they whooped Utah ass. So I'm happy. They finally went on. They finally like dominated a game at home. I've been waiting for a dominant win at home. North Dakota State at home struggle, barely survived that game. They Baylor at home barely survived. Kansas State at home loss. Who else did they play at home that was not that great? That might be it. And then now they go to Utah. They welcome Utah and they finally dominate a home game. Because on the road, it's been a different story. Colorado State, dominant win. Arizona, dominant win. UCF, dominant win. Like they go on the road and it's like no problem. But at home, they seem to struggle a little bit. So I'm glad. I'm glad for Colorado. I feel comfortable with them on the road against Kansas. Might as well make that pick now. I'm picking Colorado.
Oh, yeah,
Shocker.
They struggled against Cincinnati too.
Oh, Cincy. So like when they're at home, their wins aren't as they struggle. They let teams stay and hang with them. I don't know what it is. And you're supposed to have home field advantage.
Trying to achieve that little storyline ending.
Yeah. But when they're on the road, and I feel like they're in their own environment and they're not in their heads and they're just playing football and they kind of like get all hype about the villain role of going to a different stadium and everyone's like FCU or they're like Travis sucks. We've seen them at Texas Tech, dominant. UCF, dominant. Arizona, dominant. Colorado State, dominant. They go on the road and they're like villains. You can't fuck with us on the road.
Yeah, so
Colorado's throwing tortilla, or Texas Tech is throwing tortillas. Travis Hunter's putting it in his pants, no problem. So,
yeah, I definitely think Colorado should be able to come out with the dub on this game since it is away and it's at Kansas too. So, I got confidence in it.
Yep, and we'll talk about our last game before we get up out of here. We got Clemson, who survives against Pitt. We both chose Pitt, and I thought that you were going to go with Clemson. In the rankings.
I should have chose Clemson, but someone told me to choose Pitt. But it's the fact that Cade Klubnik ran the ball for 72 yards for a touchdown to literally put them in the lead, and that was it. I'm like, all y'all had to do was stop the QB run, and we would have had the pick.
I said something on our last review episode, actually. We were talking about Heisman candidates, and I was like, why the heck is Cade Klubnik in Heisman consideration over, which I still believe, over Curtis Ward and Shador Sanders? Well, that sounds. Cade heard something because that last drive was like, I got y'all. Pitt with their second string quarterback almost beat Clemson. I don't know how Clemson's ranked number 17 in a new poll.
Just based off the losses, I'm thinking, because you also got to think about there was some top 20 teams that lost as well. But in my opinion, Clemson, no. Refuse.
I still believe that they're a team that lived off a cupcake schedule. And when they face real competition, they're not good. They're not that good. I know it sounds bad coming from me, who was raving about how great Pitt was earlier out this year, who has lost 3 straight games now. The moment I picked them as my dark horse, they decided not to win a fucking game anymore. But it is what it is. It is what it is, bruh.
Clemson. I'm not going to believe in no Pitt no more.
Nah. It's looking like SMU in Miami for this ACC championship game.
Oh no, that's set in stone.
And don't ask me to pick who's going to win that game today. I don't know.
Who you talking
about?
Yet. You talking about SMU, Miami?
Yeah, I don't know yet.
I already know, but we're gonna wait till that time comes.
All right. I already know who you gonna say.
Yeah, you already know who I'm going with.
You going with the dark horse completely?
The horse. That red stallion.
That's the same team that lost to BYU, by the way.
And that's the same team that's competing for a championship right now. And that's replaced BYU in the college playoffs as well. Yeah.
Well, so not worst case scenario, but a scenario, and I want to talk about this before we get out of here. A scenario that I've always been a little. So I told you about it 3 times. I don't know if you remember me talking about it. Kind of getting to that point, and I'm a little nervous. I said that there's a shot that Colorado wins the Big 12 and does not get the bye because they have Boise State ranked higher than them in the AP or the college football playoff rankings, which will make Boise State one of the 4 highest ranked champions and not Colorado. It's starting to look like that, especially with a BYU loss, and BYU is now ranked behind Boise State. If everybody wins out and Colorado beats BYU, it won't be a great. I don't know if the committee lets Colorado jump Boise State at that point.
But do you give a bye to a group of 5 school?
That's my problem here. I think 2 things are flawed with this college football playoff rankings. One, how do you select the group of 5 champion? Because Boise State is not record-wise the best group of 5 team. I think they're the best group of 5 team, hands down. But record-wise, they may not be the best group of 5 team. Because Army's undefeated. They play Notre Dame this week. Can't wait for that game. And then Tulane has 2 losses, but Tulane both of their losses were to Power 4 conference teams. It was Oklahoma and whoever else. Kansas State.
So where do we meet this, right? Where do we meet with this? So I just looked at the standings in the Mountain West, right? The top 2, as of right now, until loss happens somehow, it's Boise State and Colorado State. So if they play in the championship, right, and then let's say we'll do just a hypothetical. Let's just do a scenario. I can't even say the word. Okay. If Colorado State beats Boise State, that knocks them out of playoffs. do you put Colorado State in the playoffs, or would that how would that work? Because then it
That's
wouldn't be
fine.
a Group 5 school in the playoffs anymore.
Well, the problem is, so Boise State plays Colorado State in the Mountain West Championship game, right?
Yeah.
Projected. And then we have an Army playing someone in their AAC championship game. If Boise State loses the championship game against Colorado State, but Army wins the championship game, Army would be the fifth highest ranked champion because they're ranked in the top 25 and they win their championship game.
That's another Group 5 school, though.
Yeah, it's always going to be a group of 5 school will make it every year.
So we're putting one Group of 5 school in there.
Yeah, we're mandatory.
Sir, we're forgetting about Tulane here. I just realized Tulane's 7-0 in the conference.
Yeah, Tulane's going to a championship game too.
And they got Memphis this week.
But the problem is Army's ranked higher than Tulane, so they would get the playoff bid. That's how it works. It's the highest ranked champion.
But I'm saying though, so what you're saying that if Tulane plays Army in the championship, right? So say they beat Memphis and Army wins out. Tulane and Army plays in the championship. Tulane beats Army. Do they make the college playoffs?
If Boise State loses, yeah.
Who the hell wants to see a Tulane in the college playoffs?
They might be better than Boise State.
I'm not watching no damn Tulane. They played 0. Well, no, they played Jaw at the beginning of the year, and then they also played Kansas State.
Yeah, they lost to us in Kansas
They
State.
only lost it. Yeah, y'all blew them out. They lost to Kansas State by 7.
That was back when Jackson Arnold was still playing quarterback.
Yeah. We're not gonna talk about that game. They played Kansas State at home, and they
almost beat Kansas State. They should have won.
Yeah, they lost to them by 7.
They scored a touchdown, but they called it back. It was a 4th down, and Duke caught a one-hand catch on the goal line, on the the end zone line, and they called it short. Tulane should have at least take that game in overtime. Referees hold them out of a win against Kansas State. Tulane should only have one loss, but still. Yeah, I don't like the whole group of 5. I think
it's weird. It's weird.
I think the group of 5 and FCS, like North Dakota State and them, they should group up to have their own college football playoff.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the group of 5 schools and FCS schools like North Dakota State, South Dakota State, and the rest of those FCS schools, they should all get together and have their own rankings and playoffs. Because, what is the group of 5? Because we don't treat them like they're a part of the real Division I football teams, but we also respect them enough to give them a playoff bid. What are they? Do their games matter or not? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
well, we're just gonna see how the rankings play off after this week.
Yep. That'll do it for the episode. If you made it this far, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that button. Turn on those notifications so you don't miss an episode. We're gonna come back Tuesday with a topic episode, like always. We'll talk about some things around college football. Don't want to miss that. It's gonna be some absolute heat.
But before we do sign off on this one, I just want to go ahead and update the picks.
Yeah. I think nothing really changed. I think because I chose Georgia and you chose Tennessee, but I chose Kansas State and you chose Arizona State. I think it balanced out the week of picks.
Yeah, it did.
And we ended up, whatever the record was, I'm still up 1, I think, or 2.
I think you're still up 2.
So nothing really changed, man. I'm still winning this mug.
For you.
Still winning the picks, but we'll be back next Friday with some more picks. for this week's slates of
Clemson
games.
will
It's gonna
be
be
in situation.
man. Listen, I almost texted you. I almost texted you after I sent you my teams. Like, actually, let me get that pit change for Clemson. Let me get Clemson
Oh
instead
God,
of
I was
Pitt.
over there. I typed in my picks. I was like, hold on, let me go back and look at these schedules real quick to see who I want to go ahead and rethink this real quick.
Yeah, and I almost went. Maybe we'll start. We won't talk about every game in our episodes, but maybe we'll like start making picks on all of the division Power Four games.
Yeah, we'll just cover the important ones.
Yeah, but we'll just cover the important ones. But we'll start making picks on them all. Maybe at the end of the episode we'll do like a rapid fire where we won't go into detail about the games, but we'll be like, who you got, and kind of do that at the end because I didn't want to talk about Boston College at SMU, but I probably would have chose Boston College because I thought they had a chance to win that game when they almost did. New Mexico at Washington State. Obviously, I would have chose Washington State. They ended up losing to New Mexico State.
Yeah, that would have been a bad game to choose.
Yeah, so like maybe we'll start doing rapid fire picks at the end, but only cover the games that matter. Next week though, we got an Army and Notre Dame game. We got Indiana and Ohio State. Oh yeah, man. We got Kansas and Colorado, BYU and Arizona State. It's gonna be a good week of football next week.
So there's
Oklahoma and Alabama might have sneaky good implications.
Sneaky good implication my ass. I'm calling you and I'm talking shit.
All right, man. We'll catch y'all on Tuesday. Stay safe. Go to work. Make money this week. For all those people working 9 to 5s, we feel it. See y'all on Tuesday. Peace.